What is going on, my Cardano friends? It is your Cardano friend Jack here, and in today's video we're going to be going over two methods that you can grow your Cardano or your ADA stack, the amount you have, without spending any more money. Now, the first method, it's pretty obvious. The second one, I'm going to go in a bit more depth and give you some, data or some examples of how this might work and how you can actually grow that amount of ADA without putting any fiat currency in. And no, we're not going to be trading necessarily. We're not going to be going from ADA to another altcoin and doing something else like that. It's quite a lot more simple, and there's also going to be a third bonus method that I'm going to mention at the end, which will be possible very soon. So with that being said, let's get right into it. Please also remember, I'm just an idiot in my mom's basement, and none of what I say is going to be financial advice. Honestly, it's more or less degenerate advice, and proceed with caution, especially in NFT land, because it is very risky. Okay, so we're not going to take too long. The first method is simply staking, right? If you're not already staking your ADA, you really should be doing so. You can stake it with the Jack stake pool, which is my stake pool, or you could stake it with a different stake pool. But my stake pool is Jack. If you want to stake with my stake pool, if you don't already know how to stake your ADA, you can do so by going to the bottom, clicking that first link that says how to stake your ADA. And then in that video, it's going to explain everything you need to know about staking. And then you can go ahead and click the links in that video's description to, on your specific wallet, stake with a certain pool. If you want to stake with Jack pool or whatever else, you can stake there. But staking your ADA does give you 4 to 5% annually returns paid in ADA. So it's a way to multiply your ADA, and it is absolutely risk-free in the sense that you're never going to lose your ADA because you're staking it and there's no lockups. So definitely would do that. Now next is a bit more of an important or kind of elaborate way to grow your ADA. And by no means is this risk-free. This comes with more risk. The more risk you take on, the bigger rewards you can possibly gain. That's not to say that because you're taking on a ton of risk, it means the upside is infinite, but there are ways to judge when the risk is worth the potential reward. As many of you may know, you're in cryptocurrency land. That is just about all of the speculation here. It's all about judging risk versus reward. And if you've bought an ADA, if you bought in Cardano, you've probably gauged that the reward is greater than the risk, or the risk is not as great as the reward. So with that being said, what I would do and what I want to show you today is how this can actually work, how NFTs can help you grow your ADA stack. Obviously, you can flip NFTs, you can buy them, hold them, and sell them for a profit. But ultimately, yes, you are going to have to sell NFTs for profit for this to work. So it's not the easiest thing in the world. I do have a few videos on that I'll leave down in the description. But in short, if you're interested in doing this, I want to give you a little bit of data. So here we have right here, passive staking rewards. Let's say you're someone with 3,000 Cardano. You're going to make every month about 11.5 Cardano in staking rewards, which is pretty good, but it's nothing too crazy, right? That's $15 a month at the price of 132 USD. Obviously, if this price went up, these numbers in USD value would go up, but the ADA stays the same. So in a year, we're going to make 138 ADA with our 3,000 ADA, right? It's pretty good, but it's nothing to go and buy a new house with or get a new car with, right? So how is this going to work? Well, if we scroll down here, you can see I have a simple, very oversimplified, dramatically oversimplified chart of someone who put 500 ADA into NFT investments, and they returned on average, not in one go, most likely, this would be over time, a 2x, right? So 200%. And in this time, Cardano price went up to $3, back down to $150, back up to $2, and so on and so forth. But they didn't care because they were just messing around on NFTs, and they got a lot more ADA back. They got 500 ADA back. Now that would have taken them about 4 years to get, or 3.5 years to get in their staking rewards, but they did it in, let's say, a month to 2 weeks, maybe even more than 2 weeks or a month, but they did it in a very short amount of time, less than the 3.5 years it would have taken with staking rewards. Their new balance is now 3,500 ADA, and they now earn more from staking rewards. As you can see here, if we plug in the number 3,500, they now earn 161 or 13 instead of 11 from staking rewards every month. So not only did you just multiply your ADA from NFTs, but you also now multiply it from staking because you have more ADA. That being said, this is all super simplified. It is risky, okay? Going into NFTs, it's risky. You're probably going to get hurt if you're not taking precautions. And even if you are, you're going to lose on some battles. That's just how it goes. You have to learn these things for yourself a lot. But there are some mints coming up. And there's always mints around that are unexpectedly, profitable, or just have enough attention around them where you could probably place your bets in a good position and return a profit. Now, it's not all about the profits with NFTs right away. Sometimes you're going to have to hold. A lot of times you're going to want to do research in the project and gauge community. All these things I have laid out in a separate video, which will be linked down in the description. But ultimately, definitively, you're going to have to feel these things out for yourself and get a sense of the NFT market. I know that may be a lot, but in all honesty, I find NFTs and making returns on NFTs 1,000 times easier than trading traditionally. Trading traditionally requires a bunch of technical analysis, a bunch of terms, a bunch of patterns that isn't really simple. It's not put into English at first glance, and you can't really understand the reasons behind things without really doing a lot of research into the things that make technical analysis work. So with NFTs, I find that all I have to track is a few metrics. Community engagement, how much followers or interest is there actually around the project before the mint, or is there something going on behind the scenes that you have heard about or know about that might gauge a lot more interest in the short term or long term of the project? All of these things are much easier to find and figure out before you can go ahead and spend 6 months to a year learning technical analysis so you can get some mediocre returns trading in traditional markets. Of course, though, there is inherent risk, as I mentioned, to trading NFTs and trying to flip them for profit. It's not going to be straightforward all the time, and there's going to be losses. There's going to be mints that you thought were super great and they were going to be super successful. Turns out the market didn't really like them. Everyone was trying to flip them, and the floor does not go above the mid price, and you're pretty much left holding in a liquid JPEG. That happens, okay? Even the best of projects, or a lot of good projects, have had the floor go down and not be sustained. A lot of the times it's very hard to tell what is going to make the floor go up on a project or what's going to make it profitable for you. So with that being said, I don't want to make it sound like NFTs are the easiest thing ever and you got to get into them, but I have found it quite an efficient way of growing my Cardano or my ADA stack without actually buying any more ADA, by not only flipping NFTs, but getting lucky on mints, and also just being in the scene, taking a look and keeping tabs on projects that I really like has been quite profitable for me. I've had many people come and tell me how my videos who got them in NFTs have turned out very well for them. People who have minted Pavia states and sold them for 30,000 ADA. Obviously, these are exceptions. Not everyone's going to be able to strike gold, but there are a lot of opportunities in NFT lands to really multiply the amount of Cardano you have. I think it's much more nuanced and simplified this way than trading and using technical analysis, and it's more relatable or more easy for an everyday person to get behind the wheel of NFT markets and kind of get a gauge for them in a lot quicker time frame. Also keep in mind, right here in the calculator, I have 500 ADA put in. To be honest, you're not really going to mint a project for 500 ADA or buy an NFT for 500 ADA and just get a 2x on it. You're probably going to have to mint, a few projects or many of one project, and then go ahead and one by one collect your profits and then average out to hopefully a 2x or more. Sometimes you'll mint one for, let's say, 40 ADA, and maybe on mint day, you get a really rare one and it sells for 10x, right? 1,000%. This actually does happen. It's happened to me, and it is lucky based, or sometimes the floor of the project is just bonkers on that day. It really does depend on the total market sentiment of NFTs, as back in September, this would happen frequently, but nowadays, mints aren't as hyped up. Everyone's kind of running ADA, and you do have to be more careful with the projects you mint. So 1,000% on a 40 ADA investment would be 360 ADA. Now we have 3,860 ADA, and we only invested 40 ADA. Now what I would do in this case, if you had something lucky like this happen to you, is take that 360 ADA and mark that your NFT money. Take that profit, 40 ADA, or take that initial investment, put it back in your ADA balance. Don't touch that, and make sure that this 360 ADA is the only ADA used for NFTs. That way, if things get really bad, you're not going to be down really any money. You're just going to be back to where you started, and your staking rewards are still coming in. So you've still made, 13 ADA on your 3,500 ADA every month. So that's kind of the general consensus that I've came to when trying to grow my Cardano stack without actually buying any more, as I've kind of ran out of fiat currency at this point, and now I just have to resort to these type of methods to grow my ADA stack. The third bonus method, which I mentioned earlier, is also pretty simple, but you can't do it just yet. I want to let you guys know though, once DeFi protocols come out and you can start lending and borrowing, there's going to be a third way that you can pretty much get a 4x yield on your Cardano with a couple different methods. I'll leave a video link down in the description. It's going to be titled the 4x yield method, and that one will be on the liquid finance protocol, covering what I'm talking about right now. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys do want to stake with my Cardano stake pool, you can do so with Jack Stake Pool. If you find this video helpful whatsoever, please smash the like button at the bottom there, and also hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. See you guys in the next one. It's been your friend Jack. Peace out.